Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spellbound, A Darker Shade of Black. Get your copy today at your favorite online bookseller. Now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Give in to temptation and pick up this action-packed African-American paranormal romance. Get The Temptation of John Haynes in paperback and e-readers today. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue. Tyler Perry called black people who criticized his films highbrow Negroes.
I love that you've never allowed that criticism to stop you from being able to have your authentic voice as an artist, because it does get really difficult.
Yeah, but what? No. You got to drown all of that out, because if you let somebody talk you out of a place that God has put you in, you are going to find yourself in hell. I know for a fact that what I'm doing is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, because for everyone who is a critic, I have thousands of used to be emails from people saying, this changed my life. Oh my God, you know me. Oh my God, you saw me. How did you know this about my life, my family? So that is what is important to me. We're talking a large portion of my fans who are disenfranchised, who cannot get in the Volvo and go to therapy on the weekend. So you've got this highbrow Negro who is all up in the air with his nose up looking at everything. And then you got people like where I come from and me who are grinders, who really know what it's like, whose mothers and were caregivers for white kids and were maids and housekeepers and all of these beauticians. That don't discount these people and say that their story don't matter. Who are you to be able to say which black story is important or should be told? Get out of here with that bullshit.
Yes, and that is what we come up against. It's like you said, the respectability politics that we're always pushing up against, which at the end of the day, what we are facing and what we are oppressed again, it doesn't matter how well you speak, it doesn't matter how well you walk, it doesn't matter how well you do anything. If somebody's going to not like you, they're going to not like you, period.
Right.
So holding ourselves to these unbelievable standards that stop us from being able to tell our true stories and connect to one another, it only, like you said, puts us in a personal hell and doesn't allow us to really be all that we're meant to be, because we're too busy trying to fit into somebody else's idea.
Listen, what I always say is don't worry about being in somebody's box, because when you die, they're going to put you in one. So you may as well just live your life outside of a box.
Ooh.
Now, in a recent interview with Keke Palmer on her podcast, Tyler Perry called black people who criticize his films highbrow Negroes. Now, according to Tyler Perry, black people who criticize his films are highbrow Negroes because those black people want to see a higher quality of story and a diversity of stories regarding the black experience. And those black people who want to see a higher quality of storytelling that uses better visuals and better storytelling, those people are highbrow Negroes, and he believes that those black people are trying to take him out of the place that God has put him. And he says that his films are basically having an impact on black people by the things that he has been told by people who say that his films are like therapy, and his films basically talk about their issues. And as those films talk about their issues and make them feel good, he believes that his films are helping people. However, I'm going to have to disagree with that as related to Tyler Perry, because when I take a look at Tyler Perry's statement, it basically shows me a man who basically refuses to take criticism from the average everyday black person, who he basically goes and calls a highbrow Negro, not understanding that the average everyday black person just wants a quality film that tells a great story. Now, I was one of those people in the audience for many Tyler Perry movies, and I am a guy, again, from the South Bronx who was growing up poor, who just wanted to see a filmmaker, and I gave Tyler Perry a chance as a filmmaker. However, after watching many of his films, I see a filmmaker who basically did not grow in his craft, And what's really sad here is even though Tyler Perry has gotten over $1 billion and has basically become a billionaire, he really has no interest in looking to improve in his craft as a screenwriter, as a director, as a filmmaker. And it's really sad that he goes out here and talks about how black people who want to see better are highbrow Negroes, but in actuality, what we want, again, is a quality cinematic experience. Now, I myself am a novelist and a screenwriter, and over the last 30 years I have been writing. I've always been wanting to improve in my craft. I've always been wanting to improve as a writer, to write better stories, and that's why I would go out and look to study more about writing on my own. I would go out here and pick up books like Sid Field's screenplay, Robert McKee's story, and read lots of different screenwriting blogs and writing blogs because I didn't want to stay at the level I was back in the 90s when I first started writing, or the late 90s when I started querying publishers. No, I always wanted to improve. And as I've gone out here and started my own SJS Direct imprint, I've always made an effort to look to improve the quality of my publications. And over the course, I have written over 80 books. I've looked to get better and better with my books. And sadly, Tyler Perry doesn't have that dedication to craft. And sadly, because he doesn't have that dedication to craft, what he does is lash out at people who basically were paying money to see his films, lash out at us by calling us highbrow Negroes, not understanding that the projects that he makes basically are an insult to our intelligence, because it shows us the most dysfunctional picture of black life, a dysfunctional picture of black life that basically fits what would be on talk shows like Jerry Springer and Maury Povich, and reinforces and breathes brand new life into old stereotypes regarding black people. That is what Tyler Perry puts in his films, and as he puts this in his films, what he wants to do is say that black people who criticize him are these highbrow Negroes looking to take him out of the place that God has placed him. But what Tyler Perry doesn't see is how white supremacy basically put him in this place to be a useful idiot doing the work of white supremacy and looking to degrade the black image. That's the reason why Tyler Perry was put in that place, because I don't believe that God blessed Tyler Perry to be in this place over the black image. No, they put him in that place over the black image to be the steward over their idea of the black image, to collude with people who are anti-black like Lee Daniels and Oprah Winfrey. Put them with those people because what the white supremacist wants to see regarding the black image is dysfunction, and he wants you to see that dysfunction because that fits within the narratives that the white supremacist has had regarding the black image ever since the days of the antebellum South when black people were enslaved. That's what Tyler Perry wants to go out and not believe as related to the black image, but this is the reason why he's been put in this place. And what he wants to do as related to black people is do what a good bootlick does and shame black people by using God and using the black women as enforcers to silence his critics. That's what Tyler Perry wants to do to his black critics. And I say black critics, that's why I say that when he was calling us highbrow Negroes, he was talking to black people directly. He wasn't talking about no white or no non-black person, talking about the quality of his films. No, what he wanted to do is shut up all the black people who have called out the poor quality of his films and wanted to go out here and one, insult the audience by calling us Negroes. Two, go out here and use God to shame us, and wanted to go out here and shame black people by saying, oh, you are going against what God has said. But no, this has nothing to do with the Most High God at all. No, the Most High God does not go out here and want to see black people to be at the bottom of the world in dysfunctional situations like Tyler Perry presents. No, the Most High God wants to see all black people live an abundant life, and he wants black people to live that abundant life, and that's not something we have been able to see with Tyler Perry in charge at Tyler Perry Studios. No, we have seen a degradation of the black male and black female image, and as we've seen this degradation of the black male and black female image, we have seen the picture of black life being presented as dysfunctional, just like we see on talk shows like Maury Povich and Jerry Springer when they were on the air. And Tyler Perry basically gives us the same story over and over again in his films, where he basically shows us a slanted picture that again fits white supremacy's narrative that they present as related to the black image ever since the days of filmmakers like Steven Spielberg when he adapted Alice Walker's The Color Purple, because with Tyler Perry we don't get much balance as related to his stories. No, we don't get much balance as related to his stories because the paradigm for every Tyler Perry movie is basically the same, where we get this single black woman who trusted some dark-skinned black man, and this black man basically is, even though he's educated or a professional or even a blue-collar brother, is some sort of super brute where all he is angry and violent to the point where he wants to abuse that black woman. And as he abuses that black woman, she has to flee from the violent situation that she's in back to her family, which eventually has some sort of connection to Medea or someone. And that black woman, basically, as she flees to her home, of her family, she has to pick up the pieces of her life, where she finds some light-skinned brother. And as she finds the light-skinned brother, what she does is eventually pick up the pieces of her life, falls in love. The light-skinned brother beats up the dark-skinned super brute black man, who basically is violent and out of control and is just a one-dimensional character. And eventually these characters wind up falling in love, and they go on to live happily ever after. And this is the formula that Tyler Perry has run for decades as related to becoming successful at the box office. And what's really sad about Tyler Perry's story is that it's extremely shallow and really does not have any sort of balance as related to storytelling. No, it's the white supremacist idea of black people and the white supremacist view of black people that doesn't show the overall more panoramic picture of life that a writer like myself does. Because when I write a story, I'm not talking about a super brute black man. No, when I do stories, I do balanced pictures of life between black men and black women, like I did in a novel I did called A Recipe for Success. Now, when I was writing the novel A Recipe for Success, I did it in a revolving first-person perspective because I wanted you to make observations about the characters' actions, and I wanted people to see the richer picture that all sides needed to be told, so that you can see where the woman did wrong and the man did wrong as related to what was happening with Cassandra Lee, where her arrogance and sense of entitlement basically led to her winding up in a situation where she thought that she was going to get her family business, and her relationship with her boyfriend was basically that because of her arrogance and entitlement, and she wound up involved with a down low man as a result of that same arrogance and intelligence. And I did that basically because I wanted the audience to see that all of the sides, again, are accountable, and I wanted people to understand that as a starting point, yes, there's a point where you need to grow. And sadly, while Tyler Perry talks about how his films are therapy for black people, that therapy never helps those people to grow the way actual therapy does. That's the other point, as somebody who uses a lot of psychology in his writing, I really got pissed off on, because when I look at Tyler Perry, he talks about how his films are therapy. How is it therapy when you continue to promote dysfunction and never really dig deep at the issues of what the characters are having to deal with? Because when I write stories and I use psychology, I dig deep into those characters and their motivations. I dig deep into those characters' motivations because, one, I want to really show you what is driving this character, and two, I want to show you the process and the steps the character takes in order to move their lives forward. I want to show that they want to acknowledge their problems and acknowledge their problems so that they can learn from their mistakes and learn from their mistakes where they grow from them. This is something that I used as my approach, again, in all of my projects, whether it be a book like A Recipe for Success, where Cassandra Lee had to stop thinking all about herself and think about other people, or a book like Spellbound, where I show the Matilda Crowley character, a shy, introverted girl, growing to find her voice, and find her voice so that she could start speaking for herself and tell the world who she was as she became the goth Black Widow. And I even did this in novel The Temptation of John Haynes, where I show both the John Haynes and Esteem characters growing and changing as people. John growing out of being in his isolated world, and Esteem growing out of an isolated world into a bigger picture. And as Esteem grows with John, she starts to learn the value of his soul, and John learns the value of showing his example of Christ to others outside of the world. So I always try to show how people grow as a result, because that's all part of a character transformation arc. But Tyler Perry doesn't give you that character transformation arc. No, he basically gives you a very shallow story that scratches the surface and uses comedy to basically stimulate women's emotions as he uses a veneer of religion, never really digging deep into the gospel to show how this person is growing in Christ. That was something I try to do with many of my characters, like with Esteem, where I show after the temptation of John Haynes, when she becomes a Christian, she starts to grow in Christ. And I try to do that because, again, I want you to see that there's a process as related to things, because God has a process, because he just doesn't give you things instantly the way Tyler Perry presents. No, there's a process of growth where God wants to take you from one place to another. And as he takes you from one place to another, he strips away those things that would impede you as a person. This is something I know from my own personal life. He strips away those things that would hold you back spiritually. And Tyler Perry doesn't dig that deep. No, he doesn't dig that deep at all. And he wants to sit there and say that this is the thinking of a highbrow Negro. No, this is the thinking of an intelligent black person, an intelligent everyday black person who wants to see a better screenwriting experience and a better filmmaking experience from Tyler Perry that would lead to higher quality movies. But Tyler Perry doesn't want to give black people higher quality movies like filmmakers like the Hudlin brothers used to do, like the late John Singleton, like Spike Lee, and even Denzel Washington and Sally Richardson Whitfield to a point. They want to give you a higher quality filmmaking experience, but Tyler Perry wants to keep black people at the bottom of the world because he's intellectually lazy and does not want to improve on his craft. No, Tyler Perry doesn't want to improve on his craft, and he shows his contempt for foundational black Americans by calling us highbrow Negroes, and insulting us, all because we want films that are of a higher standard, that show black excellence instead of the black incompetence that he presents in all of his films. Because what Tyler Perry presents to people in his films is black incompetence that white supremacy basically loves, because passively they go out here and get a black man to represent as a filmmaker, but aggressively they get that black man to go out here as a useful idiot to go out here and breathe brand new life into the stereotypes that white supremacists feel comfortable about, and get that black man to go out here and be the black person who goes out here and presents minstrel shows in blackface. And as they do that, they can go out here and say that this is an accurate representation of black people, all while they laugh at Tyler Perry because they know that he's a useful idiot doing their dirty work for them so that their filmmakers won't have to soil their hands. They get Tyler Perry to go out here and do their dirty work, and as they get him to do their dirty work, they, as related to film, they use him as a buffer, use him and Oprah Winfrey and Lee Daniels as buffers to basically gatekeep the black community, to keep us from seeing balanced, humanized images of black people. And then as he goes out here and uses them as buffers, then those spellbound black women who are caught up in their emotions about the same old story that Tyler Perry presents as related to the abuse of black women, a narrative that has been promoted since 1986 or 1985 when The Color Purple came out, uses black women to go out here and say, oh, I'm getting therapy from these films. No, what you need to do is go to an actual therapist or mental health professional, because under Obamacare, you're supposed to be able to do that, because a film should not be therapy for anyone. No, a film's job is to tell a story about the human experience, a human experience that you can relate to. That's all a film needs to be. But you have Tyler Perry looking to go out here and pander to the emotions of black women, who he uses as his enforcers to go out here and look to silence the black community, look to use black women to silence the black community so that they won't criticize him about the poor quality of his films, his inability to tell and craft quality stories, and his inability to create a richer, more diverse picture of black life, because there's more to life than the sector of the black community that basically comes from the Jerry Springer Show's booking department. I mean, there's more to the black life than seeing a black woman being abused, because there's a good majority of black women who do not come from environments where they have suffered abuse or trauma. There are healthy black women out here. There are healthy black women who have healthy relationships with their fathers. There are healthy black women who have relationships that are healthy with their husbands. There are healthy black women who have had healthy relationships and pass that on to their children. But you won't hear about that from Tyler Perry the way I did growing up in the 80s with The Cosby Show, where I basically grew up from watching Good Times as a kid and seeing dysfunction made by racists like Norman Lear, who basically perverted the work of the black people who wanted to create Good Times. And there was more to it than that. And again, Bill Cosby opened that door, and we started to see that richer picture of black life until NWA showed up, and they basically came out with Straight Outta Compton. And as that came on, we got Boys in the Hood, which basically twisted John Singleton's story of black fathers. I mean, there's a richer picture of black life, and Tyler Perry doesn't even try to scratch the surface and doesn't care to scratch the surface. No, he doesn't care to scratch the surface. No, he doesn't want to take the jackhammer that I've got and look to dig deeper into black life and show you a richer picture of black life and tell humanized stories that show black people as rich, multidimensional people. No, he doesn't want to dig deeper and show you two black-owned businesses working on a business deal like I do in my novel, Recipe for Success. He doesn't want to explore the supernatural and the spiritual aspects of God like I did in my novel, The Temptation of John Haynes. He doesn't want to go out here and explore black vampires like I did in my novel, Eternal Night. He doesn't want to talk about black people in the goth subculture like I did in the Spinsterella books. And he doesn't want to explore black fantasy like I do in my Isis and Esteem series books. No, he doesn't want to explore black culture, and he doesn't want to give you that richer picture of black culture. No, he basically wants to park black people in the ghetto that the white supremacist wants us to be in, and he wants us to believe that this is entertainment, and that's where I have to say to Tyler Perry, get out of here with that bullshit. That's where I have to say, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit, because we can do better than what white supremacy wants us to be. We can do far better, and we can tell a much better story about ourselves, because Tyler Perry basically wants to, again, keep us in the place that white supremacy wants us to be, but he doesn't want us to come out of that place because he won't have any sort of power over black people, because he won't have that ability to control black people's image and control the narrative over black people. And that's what white supremacy wants him to do. But as a man who I believe is a steward of God, I want to see you have a richer picture of black life. I want to see you have a richer story as related to the black experience. I want you to see a world outside of the psychological ghetto that Tyler Perry wants to put you in. I want you to see yourself in a much bigger world where you have more power and control over your image, because I believe we can do better than Tyler Perry. I believe we can do better than what he and the cabal of Oprah Winfrey and Lee Daniels want to do as related to black film. I believe we can do better than Tyler Perry movies, slave movies, or other kinds of movies that show us a dysfunctional picture of black life. I believe it's time to open up black people's imaginations, and I believe it's time for us to start seeing ourselves as we really are, and not into the black box that is acceptable to white people that Tyler Perry wants to put us in. Basically, he wants to spellbind black people and put us in that black box that's acceptable to white people in his films, where we're miserable, downtrodden, and the black woman is beaten up and abused, but never really grows because she's got a light-skinned savior who will take her out of her problems and never really go out here and take accountability for her problems or take ownership of her problems. Because if you're a black person, you don't get to have to take that responsibility, because Tyler Perry refuses to show you where you did wrong. That's something that I don't do in my writing, whether it be my novels or my screenplays. I never make it where the black woman is sitting there being abused. No, I try to make it where black women who I write are always looking at themselves and seeing where they're accountable for their actions. And as they take accountability, they go through the character transformation arc where will they grow. And that's all part of really solid writing that Tyler Perry calls highbrow, but professional writers call high quality. High quality writing basically shows you a fully rich or developed character and shows us how that character has changed. And that's something that doesn't change with Tyler Perry. And Sid Field, when he was alive and wrote his book Screenplay, said that the aspects of a terrible screenplay are a film that don't show us a character that doesn't grow, because a character is supposed to change over the course of a story. That's part of basic character transformation arc, and that's basically how characters grow. A character isn't supposed to come into a film and come out the same way. No, that doesn't have an impact on an audience. And again, Tyler Perry may make people feel good with his over-the-top visuals, but those people never really come to grow. And that's the worst part about Tyler Perry as a filmmaker. He's been in this game for over 20 years, and he continues to make the same movie, similar to what we're seeing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and superhero movies, making the same movies as related to coming off an assembly line. The faces may change as related to the black A-list, but the product is just as shoddy as those GM X bodies, like the Chevrolet Citation, like the Pontiac Phoenix, like the Oldsmobile Omega. I know I used to call it Forenza, but Forenza was on a different body with the Cavalier, the Buick Skylark, and the Pontiac Phoenix. I mean, Tyler Perry films are just as shoddy as a GM X body, with poor build quality, poor structural quality, and are extremely defective. And the sad part is Tyler Perry wants people to remain defective and dysfunctional, continuing to consume these films. Continue to consume these films similar to the way some people consume superhero movies, never demanding a higher level of quality, never demanding better for themselves. I mean, never looking to hone the craft to be the best. And again, that's really something that I'm really sad about with Tyler Perry. He never hones his craft to do better or be better. I mean, this was drilled into me as a writer for years that I needed to be better. I needed to improve. People would complain, "Oh, I don't like the hand-drawn covers that I did back when I started SJS Direct in 2009. People would complain and say they wanted better, but nobody goes out and demands better of Tyler Perry, because the spellbound Negro basically, when white supremacy tells them that one of their black bootlicks is out here as a face, they never go out here and demand better from them, but they'll demand better from a heterosexual black man like myself, and they'll get angry at me, but they won't express that anger at Tyler Perry. No, they'll get emotional and defend this man for his incompetence, and that's the other issue I have with people with Tyler Perry. This man puts your dysfunction on display, like the late David Carroll used to say, and puts your dysfunction on display and makes it the standard for black people, puts it as the standard for black people, taking and regressing the black community. This, combined with the Halle Berry Oscar win for Monsters Ball, Tyler Perry films and Halle Berry basically took the black community from the standard of excellence that Bill Cosby established and took us right back into the gutter. And he wants to say we're highbrow Negroes for having a high standard. We're highbrow Negroes for demanding better of black people. We're highbrow Negroes for demanding excellence from our brothers and sisters. We're highbrow Negroes for going out here and demanding the very best as related to storytelling. We're highbrow Negroes looking to demand better and showing a richer picture of our experiences. We're highbrow Negroes because we want better of our people. No, I'm not a highbrow Negro. I'm a poor guy from the South Bronx who strives to be better every day, looking to improve every day in his craft. And the feedback that I get from people who read my stories, they tell me that they see the improvement in my craft. They see the improvement in my storytelling. I mean, I had somebody tell me that John Hayes' 1987 was actually better than the stuff that I wrote back about 15 years ago when I started SJS Direct. And I'm always striving to improve. But Tyler Perry basically believes that he is above improving, and he believes that he's above improving, never wanting to learn to do better. No, he'll say, I'm hiring a writer's room and try to write everything himself, but the writer's room will be sitting there empty, and again, people collecting checks. I mean, sitting there collecting checks, but he will be the one continuing to pump out the same poor quality material, and even worse, teach a culture where poor quality is his standard. I mean, this guy teaches a standard that poor quality is okay, and that black people need to sit there and accept poor quality. And no, I say, no, you don't need to accept poor quality. You, as a black person, deserve better. You deserve a person in charge of the black image who wants to see you strive for excellence, strive to do better, strive to improve the quality of your life, strive to see that richer picture of the black experience, see a richer picture of black culture, see a richer picture of black history, see a picture where you are front and center, see a picture where you are the main focus and you are a hero and not a victim. I mean, with Tyler Perry, all we get are victimized black women and brutish black men. And I know that there's a richer picture and a larger world of black people. I know that black men are not these violent brutes. There are a lot of good fathers out there, a lot of good husbands out there. Their stories don't get told. I mean, Tyler Perry will come to me with some nonsense like Daddy's Little Girls, but we really don't get to see that bigger picture of black men. black manhood and black masculinity from Tyler Perry. No, we don't get that at all. No, every black man in his film is a super brute black man with huge hulking muscles out here with superhuman strength. And if you look at Tyler Perry's black men and you compare them to the racist images of black men presented during the days of Jim Crow, you will see a similarity that this guy is the same thing as the black brute caricature. And I go out here and say, no, that's not black men. No, that's not the image of black manhood that I present on the SJS Direct imprint. No, I don't present black men like monsters. I don't present black men like brutes. No, I show them as responsible men, responsible fathers, responsible husbands, responsible, conscientious men who want to protect their women and care about their community. And I can come up with more plots than Tyler Perry does. I mean, I can come up with more than one story because I know that there's more than one story for the black experience, and I know that there's a richer picture of black life, and I'll go out and do the research to create those stories. And it's a shame that Tyler Perry has $1 billion studio but doesn't have the vision that I have. I mean, I'm a guy with a vision to see how Tyler Perry Studios could have revolutionized the black image, but Tyler Perry, because he's basically a useful idiot for white supremacy, even though he's got $1 billion studio, doesn't use it to revolutionize the black image the way the late John H. Johnson did when he took $500 to, again, open up the Johnson Publications and create Ebony Magazine, or when the creators of Milestones, like the late great Dwayne McDuffie, were looking to do. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of money to change the black image, and sadly, Tyler Perry, with his billions of dollars, he's basically been given that money, given that blood money, basically because he basically is doing white supremacy's work. And as he does white supremacy's work, he wants to call black people who have standards highbrow Negroes. Well, this intelligent black man is not highbrow, but I know what art is, and I know that Tyler Perry doesn't produce films that are art that transform people's lives the way Robert Townsend, the Hudlin brothers, Spike Lee, or the late John Singleton did. And what's really sad is that while he goes out here and calls black critics highbrow Negroes, because he ain't gonna call no white person or no non-black person that, he calls black people highbrow Negroes, all because we want better, and it shows us how little respect he has for black people, that he won't give us better the way Bill Cosby tried to give us. He won't try to give us better than what the white supremacist wants, and is no different than a house slave, no different than the house slave talking down to the common Negroes. That's what he does, and again, insults all those folks on the Chitlin circuit, again, insults them to their face, because he's telling you that you don't deserve better than mediocre. You don't deserve better than mediocre, and I dare to say subpar. You don't deserve anything better than garbage, and he would rather feed you slop than give you a high-quality meal that will allow you to be better. I mean, that's the sad state of affairs with Tyler Perry as related to the cinematic garbage. He doesn't want to feed your brain anything that will help it improve, because what you feed your brain is reflected out here, and if you imbibe certain media, it's going to breed certain thought processes. And what Tyler Perry wants to do is keep you ignorant, keep you at the bottom of the world, keep you ignorant and at the bottom of the world by saying that this is highbrow Negroes. And again, highbrow Negro is the same insult as acting white. And again, why is it wrong for a black person to want to think outside of the box that racists want to fit black people in? Why is it wrong for the black person to want to think outside of the box that Tyler Perry wants to stuff you in? Critical question I would ask Tyler Perry if I got face to face with him. Why is it wrong for the black person to want to think outside of the box of a psychological ghetto? Why is it wrong for that black person to want to come out of that box and be better and be their own person? Why is it wrong for that black person to want to explore different aspects of life? Why is it wrong, and why does the black person have to stay in that box? I mean, when I go out here and create stories, I want to take you out of the box. I want to take you out of the box and show you black people living different lives like I do in many of my stories. And what Tyler Perry wants to do is take his spellbound black masses, keep them in the black box that's acceptable to white people, keep them in that box where they never really grow or develop in their craft, and even worse, the performers never really grow in their craft, because with black actors, I see where their skills never get that challenge. Many of the black actors who work with Tyler Perry, and he got to work with many great A-listers, they never really get that opportunity to get that meaty, substantive material that will allow you to become a better performer. And Tyler Perry, I basically see as, again, a buffer who has stagnated black film to the point where it's basically in the same place it was during the blaxploitation era, and still wants to keep black people at the bottom of the world, doing the dirty work of the white supremacists, keeping black people from seeing a better picture of themselves, a more artistic picture of themselves, a more humanized picture of themselves, and a more complex picture of ourselves. Doesn't want us to see that because he doesn't want us to think of ourselves as human. No, he wants us to think of ourselves as slaves in the white supremacist system, slaves who go out here and continue to act the way the white supremacist wants us to do, because this media is programming the idea in generations of black people that all black girls need to just accept abuse. And I say you can do better than being abused, that black girls do need love and can be loved by their fathers, can be loved by their mothers, and everybody isn't coming from, again, this experience. There's more to black life than what Tyler Perry presents in film, and it's a shame that a generation hasn't seen it, and it's a shame that I can't get out here and compete against Tyler Perry to show you that picture of black life that so many black people have been missing out on. Now, if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, you can find those books of the SJS Direct imprint, like I've mentioned, such as Spellbound, which shows you the darker shade of black and explains the whole spellbound mindset that has destroyed black people. The books of the following books, like The Temptation of John Haynes, which gives you an exploration of black spirituality as related to a man being tempted by a demon, or A Recipe for Success, which shows you two black-owned businesses having a business deal. Or you can pick up my vampire story, Eternal Night, which shows you the whole vampire concept in black culture. And you can also pick up other books that I've done, such as those in the ISIS series and the Esteem series and the John Haynes series. And you can also pick up the Black Goth books like the Spinsterella trilogy, which is Spellbound, Spinsterella, and the legendary Mad Matilda. And you can also pick up other fiction that I've done. I mean, I've got a lot of great fiction, and I've also written screenplays like Spray 'Em Up, which shows you a black soldier looking to protect his community from gangs and drug dealers. My screenplay All About Marilyn, which deals with the struggles of black actresses. Or my TV series All About Nikki's fabulous first season, which shows you a black girl in Beverly Hills. I show you a richer, more diverse picture of black life, hoping to build on the legacy of Bill Cosby. That's what I do on my work in paperback and Kindle format on Amazon.com. And you can pick up all of those books of the SJS Direct imprint on Amazon.com by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to check out my first full comic, John Haynes at Death's Door, you can find that comic on Lulu.com by clicking the link in the description box, and you can see how I do comics with my approach to storytelling. And if you want to see me make more videos taking bootlicks like Tyler Perry straight to the barbecue, you can send a donation from the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App that will help me to be able to continue to publish books and be able to hire artists to do the covers. You can help me out by doing that, and also help me to be able to get my next full comic out by dropping that donation, and it's greatly appreciated. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback at e-readers, ISIS, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new ISIS series adventure. Get your copy of ISIS, Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. Now Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Godbreaker. The man who rules the world takes on the Asgardian god of thunder in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes, Godbreaker in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.